Hello.
Hello.
Hi. So, I keep not checking what date it is and what day we're at before I do this. This is day 24 of lockdown, I think.
Yeah.
And it is April the 14th today.
It's a Tuesday.
It is Tuesday.
Don't let anyone tell you I've lost track of the days.
Yeah, so we've had another one today, haven't we? So unfortunately, as I think I mentioned yesterday, today we were taking Poppet to the vet to have a checkup on how she was doing post-op. And unfortunately, it's not good news. The splint that was under her dressing, holding all of the pins into the brake together, had snapped, which isn't a huge surprise considering how many times she gave it a full whack against the wall. So then they needed to x-ray it. They x-rayed it, and as suspected, basically the brake is not being supported by the pins in the way that it should be. So they have kept her in overnight and will reoperate tomorrow. So at this stage they are basically doing the same operation again. It isn't as in-depth an operation this time because sort of the pins are already there. They just need to sort of be adjusted. So that's where we're at on that. So obviously that puts her recovery as 8 weeks from tomorrow. So we've got a lot longer in this to go. And obviously another whack of expense, which will take us over the insurance threshold, but it is what it is. Unfortunately, that does mean she's a very uncooperative patient, I think it's safe to say. And for both her welfare and emotional state, because she finds just even the trips to the vet in the carrier very stressful. She yowls and she's panting today and just sort of very, very stressed out and unpleasant. And I thought I was going to be bringing her home, so I feel really crap that I've had to leave her there and come home without her. So
it really felt like she'd been
on the up,
doing quite well, seemed brighter and happier, and
she was managing to walk on those 3 legs.
Used to get herself to the litter tray and back, wasn't she? Wasn't really.
Because I woke up this morning to her using the litter tray, which was a weirdly joyful way to wake up, because I hadn't helped her get there, and it sort of showed that she could do it on her own. Obviously, that's not like normally something that you want to open your eyes to, but actually under these circumstances, it was good.
As I said to Ellie yesterday, I never thought I'd be so happy to see piss coming out of a cat.
yeah, because yesterday you tried to help her get into the litter tray and she rejected you and then got in on her own, didn't she?
Yes, she did. Very independent.
Yeah, so she was on the up. A few things I'm sort of crossing my fingers for. We've learnt some lessons on her recovery from last time, so we're not going to bother with the crate. We will just go straight back for the padded cell approach. And I'm hoping also that she's, although having a new dressing and it all refiddled with will be uncomfortable and horrible, I'm hoping she's got used to the idea that there's something up with that leg and won't go right back to square one in terms of how to navigate it. So that's crossing fingers on that front. What I was going to say was for both her emotional well-being as well as the practicality of the finance involved, unfortunately I will have to say that this operation will probably have to be the last chance at saving the leg. If she breaks this splint and if this one doesn't heal the way it should, I think unfortunately we're going to have to look at amputating the leg, which that's a horrible choice to make, because it may be that the surgeon sort of, if I had an infinite pot of money, I think he will advocate further operations, but it isn't just the finances, it is also the amount of stress I'm putting her under. She is miserable and stressed out, and to be honest, already weekly trips to the vet seems quite a lot to sort of put her through. If we add in any unnecessary trips to the vet, if she pees on her bandage again, or if it starts to unravel or anything like that, I just think, so it's crossing everything for this one really, because I think she might in the long run be better off with 3 legs but fewer trips to the vet. But we're giving her this one last chance. That's pretty grim.
Because the trouble is as well is that, as Ellie said, even if there was an infinite pot of money, we bring her home and she's, occasionally thrashed the leg around in frustration, having it wrapped in a cast. We can't explain to her what's going on. We can't check underneath the dressing to see if the splint is all okay and in position and things. We don't have the training or the equipment to do any of that stuff. So, I mean, Ellie in particular has been an absolutely doting cat mum. Has done absolutely everything for us.
It's really
sleeping,
frustrating because
lying
we've
next to the floor,
next to the floor,
lying next to her on the floor.
There isn't anything we could have done differently,
no,
really.
And it's very
frustrating. I say that in hindsight, perhaps we shouldn't have crated, but crating was the recommended thing to do.
Well, we've done everything that the vet advised.
We've followed all the advice, and under normal circumstances, I think that would have been the right thing to do. But she just did not allow for how fucking feisty she is.
But even then, when the dressing had to be changed before,
it
was still in.
Yeah, when they changed the dressing, that we had to do the emergency dressing change overnight. The splint was still intact then. When we actually brought her home from the vet that time, she had a massive hissy fit in the carrier before we let her out, and I suspect that, because that was a particularly epic one, I suspect that might have been when she broke the splint. But it's hard to say. She didn't have any other big whacks after that, I don't think, so that's probably when it happened.
But she doesn't seem to have been in any sort of additional pain off the back of that.
Well, when we first brought her back, I remember being frustrated because she seemed to have gone back a few steps. She was yowling when she shifted her weight again, which that had settled down, which I was attributing to a different dressing and a different sort of size and shape bandage to deal with. But actually it may have been that she just collapsed the break again, so was in more pain, which then overnight settled.
But certainly, even though, she may well have had a bit of pain there, but and I'm sure she's been in discomfort this whole time.
Yeah,
but she hasn't been in distress.
No, she seemed a lot better. And actually, last night I had some serious affection off it. We bought a Feliway plug, which I've never used before, but they recommended for stressed out cats. And actually, one of the video chat vet nurses that we spoke to, well, I think she was actually a vet, not a vet nurse. She recommended trying that basically because she thought maybe the crate might be stressing her out because she feels a bit trapped. I've heard about them, but I've never used them before. But actually, I think that really did help her because she was suddenly, not only she seemed not stressed, but she was actually quite affectionate and all quite soppy. And that was really, really relieving to see because she'd been so grumpy. That works apparently. It's a synthetic copy of the pheromone that is given off by mothers to kittens. So it's a sort of appeasement pheromone that they refer to it as. But yeah, it sort of helps basically it gives off everything's okay vibes to cats. So we did try that. And yeah, I was very cautiously optimistic yesterday. So it was a bit of a kick in the teeth to be told. I wasn't expecting to not come home with her, and I was a bit upset when I got in because we really have done everything that we could. And more than that, it's just knowing that she's going to be there overnight, stressed out. She's got to go through another general anaesthetic. And she's just a few steps back in the recovery process, and it's really miserable. It's really hard to watch. And like I was saying, honest to God, if I could, I would rather break my leg than have her go through this. I would do that if I could wave a magic wand and have my leg broken for her. Because actually, a broken leg on lockdown wouldn't be that bad. You'll be all right. No cleaning being done for me, and you just have to wait on me hand and foot. I could live with that. But it's the fact that you can't sort of explain to her what's going on. You can't make her feel better. You can't, and yeah, it's just seeing her miserable is miserable. So yeah, another not fun one tonight. Sorry, guys.
I feel like there's a real schizophrenic kind of thing with this vlog where one day we're sort of like, hey, we're having some fun with masks, and then it's we're both a bit overtired and stressed, and we're too tired to be coherent, and then we have a slightly more frivolous, bantery one again, and then we have another one like today, and
it's been a bit up and down, isn't it? Which is like this whole thing's pretty emotionally exhausting, I have to say. When you add on that sleep deprivation and a couple of nights sleeping on the floor, I'm a little bit ruined now. One very small upside, I can sleep in a bed tonight, so that's nice. They'll hopefully be operating first thing, so I'm hoping we can bring her home tomorrow night. But I don't think they tend to keep them in any longer than they have to. So fingers crossed. Tomorrow we'll have her back upstairs. So we may, depending on how she's doing, it might be another half and half blog tomorrow. We'll just have to see. But she might just be conked out and want to sleep. So maybe not. We don't know. But so yeah. Again, sorry for it to be quite so cat focused. But like I've said, we are documenting what's going on with our lives, and Poppet is centre stage at the moment. So yeah, I was a bit weepy, a bit upset earlier, disappointed and sad for her mainly. Like the money stuff will at some point be an issue, but that's not really what I'm focusing on right now. But yeah, it's just a bit upsetting. So I had a bit of a weepy bit, and you were very good and handled it very well. And then so to sort of try and snap out of it a bit, have a bit of self-care and sort of make myself feel a little bit better, I have repurpled the old Bonds. So I am now officially out of purple hair dye. So depending on how long lockdown goes on, I'm going to start looking very weird. But that's something we can look forward to.
Yes, she's run out of purple hair dye now, so she might start looking really weird. It might go brown or something.
Well, it will go brown there and there. Well, it'll go a nice mix of brown and grey. But yeah.
Oh yeah, that's interesting.
Yes. God, you've not seen my actual hair, have you?
No.
But yeah, so but what I mean is it'll fade to strange colours and be lots of different tones and look a bit bonkers. But I will not cut it, because that's the one thing that I know that I will get to the state, because this is probably the longest it's been in about 6 years. I will not cut it. It really needs a cut. And it really needs a lot of stuff, but I will get a bit fed up of it looking terrible, and I will be tempted to just cut it all off. I've done it before. I've gone pixie cut before. But I will not. I'm growing it. I've been growing it for ages, not to just fall at the final hurdle and cut it all off now. So you're gonna have to look.
I like your hair.
You like my hair?
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
My hair's got grey bits in it. You can't tell on this, but they are there.
I've only noticed them in the last few days, actually, but I quite like them.
I mean,
it's not exactly a streak going. It's
like a silvery strand.
Yeah. Actually, it's very similar to where mine are, because I've got like a little nest of them by here, and I would really love it if they would grow into like a nice natural streak, but it's not. It's just a few through. But I noticed my first. That's quite a good story, actually. I noticed my first grey hair probably about 5 or 6 years ago. It was ages ago, anyway. But yeah, I was at my mum and dad's house when I did. And in their bathroom, they've got like quite a big bathroom mirror, but above the on the ceiling, right above where you'd be standing when you're washing your hair, there's like a spotlight, and it's very bright. And it was the first time I noticed them, and I was like, oh my god! And there were a few. And I came out of the bathroom, possibly looking slightly horrified, and my mum was coming out of the bedroom at the same time, and I'd sort of, being overly dramatic, as I am inclined to do, as you may have noticed, I went, "Mum, something terrible's just happened." And she went, "What?" And I went, "I've just spotted my first grey hair." And she went, "Was it pubic?" And I was like, "No, I didn't even know that was a thing." And she went, "Oh, it's worse when that happens." And I was just like, "Well, thanks for that, Mum. I guess I should have known that all hairs go grey, but I just never really thought about it." Well, but why was that her first? Was it pubic? Why would you not be the first thing you'd ask?
Well, you've not been making those ones purple, have you?
No, I haven't.
I won't tell people what colour you make those.
That's for me and you to know.
Private.
Yeah, we'll leave that there. My mother does not need to know how I style my pubic hair.
Well, she was the one who...
Neither does your dad.
She was the one who brought it up, in fairness.
Well, yeah, that was the thing. Like, why was that her first thought? Mother. But it did distract me from my horror with a whole new different horror. So,
that's
yeah.
something. That's good.
But yeah, so yeah, I've been going grey for ages, so you're quite good. I think your dad's got a very full head of hair as well, so I think you might...
I've always had like a very... People thought, when I was a teenager, I was going to go bald because my hair sort of goes back quite a long way.
You got sort of the widow's peak.
Yeah. And
is it on both sides?
Yeah, it's even worse on the other side. But my dad's does the same, and he's never actually lost it. And my grandparents both had hair until a sort of ripe old age.
Do you mean your grandfathers? I would expect your grandmothers to have hair.
All
All the
grandparents had hair. So so I'm not too worried it's going to go in quite thick. And also I have a very young sort of face. I got ID. Last time I went to the shop, I bought some energy drinks, which I'd been off for about 3 weeks until everything happened.
Oh, you're well back on them now, though, aren't you?
Yes, now we're tending to account. I'm back on the energy drinks. But I bought those energy drinks, and the guy in the shop, I got ID today. I had to take my mask down.
Even with your moustache?
Well, I didn't. He couldn't see the moustache because I was wearing a mask. And he had to check that I looked old. And actually, he did think I looked old enough.
That's disappointing.
So, yeah, it's just the lustrous facial hair that I'd grown.
You will notice that he's got a nice bald chin now. I approve. Still going for the slightly musketeer-y
Well, I did the
moustache.
side. I shaved off the side bits of the moustache today as well, but you didn't notice.
I didn't notice. No.
So,
They're quite fair. Quite fair. Why would you do the sides? Why would you do the sides?
For a laugh, for a giggle. I didn't know how much I had to contribute to this today, so I thought I'd do something.
I don't know if I've got much to say, so I'll just shave. No. Yeah, it doesn't really show up very much there.
My face look a bit silly, but I'll shave off another bit tomorrow.
No, I'll shave it all off tomorrow. No. Which bit are you going to leave?
We'll find out.
Oh, don't leave just the moustache. Actually, don't leave just the soul patch either. Both are awful.
So... in other news, what are we doing?
Yeah, well, there are some other bits of real world stuff going on, which I was going to go to unless you had anything you wanted to jump in first.
Well, should we do something a bit lighter?
Yeah,
to break things up?
But then we will be going back to Grimm.
I spent quite a lot of time before Pop was taken back to the vet. We took turns in sort of shifts looking after, haven't we? And so I had a few hours to myself in a bedroom with a sleepy cat.
So that I could sleep in a bed for a bit, which was very nice.
And part of that, what I did with part of that time, is I watched a comedian called Ian Smith, who was using his daily exercise to take people on a live-streamed walking tour of Goole.
Yeah, Goole is a place. I didn't know.
A northern town that he is from. And so he was live-streaming that, but he was allowed out because it's his one exercise of the day. I believe that's absolutely fine.
Mm-hmm.
Did
he have a lot to say about Goole?
I mean, he was very affable, very very likeable guy. I mean, as a form of entertainment, I'm not sure it's going to catch on.
Walking towards Goole.
Just walking towards, just people live streaming a walk around a place. I mean, maybe if it's a place of particular historic significance, there are people who do walking tours in real life. I imagine if they wanted to live stream one. I imagine there'd be an audience for that.
That'd be quite nice for people who can't get out and about.
Certainly, it'd be nice for when comedians can get back to just doing comedy. But but as I say, he was very affable, and also he has in the last couple of weeks put on YouTube a very well received Edinburgh hour that he did called Craft, that got sort of 4-star reviews and glowing reviews everywhere, and he's put that people can watch for free on YouTube.
What's his name?
Ian Smith.
Ian Smith. That's not a showbiz name, is it?
Not especially, no. But, he's from the north, what do you expect? And he's also got a show coming out tomorrow, another show.
On what?
I think it's called Half-Life.
No, I meant on what medium?
No, I know, I was getting to that. But that's on the streaming service, stand-up comedy streaming service Next Up, which, if you don't know about, is a streaming service where you can watch...
is it all stand-up, or is it some sketches and stuff as well?
There's a couple of double acts. There might be a couple that are kind of sketchy or character led, but it's all live comedy.
Right.
Sort of specials, comedy specials, as you'd know from Netflix, that kind of vibe. But some of them are a bit more unique, maybe is the word, and it's mostly British acts, the majority, or acts based in Britain, and people who've done shows at the Edinburgh Fringe, and there may be a little bit less kind of...
It's a good fun browse, that, because there's a lot on there.
Yeah, and there's maybe some slightly weirder stuff, or some slightly different, more alternative stuff than you get in your typical kind of Netflix or Amazon Prime special. So, and you can get a free trial of that for a week as well, so why not give that a go?
Yeah.
That's a fun way to spend your time. There's loads of people doing different things for entertainment right now. Those are just the ones that I know, and those specials from Ian Smith as well, they're ones that were recorded before all of this, so there's an audience and an atmosphere and all of the things that you love in live comedy is there. So,
well, speaking of audience and atmosphere, actually, that was something I did want to mention that I'd forgotten about. It was the first in the new series of the Graham Norton Show on Friday, which I hadn't really thought about. I sort of don't watch it religiously, but I sort of tend to record it, and then if I'm at a loose end, I'll watch it. Obviously, it's all happening under social distancing rules now, and it was weird. It was really weird because obviously there's no audience. One has to assume that Graham Norton's doing it from his home. So they'd green screened his office, and it's like him and a computer, and then they green screened the background, so he sort of made a point of pressing a button, and then it looks like the background of the studio. But then, like, doing a talk show host, but all of the guests are like videoing in. And then they still had the musical act, and she was singing, but she was doing that remotely. Like, it was weird. It just felt very strange, and I was just like, oh crikey, is this sort of how telly's gonna be now? Like, you can't have a. I guess it makes perfect sense, but it's crept into kind of every aspect of life now. Like,
something I've noticed, aware of when I've seen people appearing from their homes. Look, I don't make any great claims as to the production values of this, right? It's just us sat on a sofa with a phone pointed at us. I'm sure there are better quality cameras we could be using. We could be taking better care with the lighting. So I'm sure there are ways you could do something about the light that keeps reflecting off my glasses and irritating me. But, that said, we are using a little tripod that, just by good fortune, that I bought the other day. And I've seen things on actual television where it's just a guy kind of looking down at his laptop.
Yeah, from that
so you
sort
get
of
some
angle,
angle up his nose, And so like I said, I make no great claims as to the production values of this, but it is kind of fun to see something on TV and go, that doesn't even look as good as what me and Ellie are doing in our little...
I quite like seeing into people's... it's usually like their study or their back bedroom, and just sort of like getting a little glimpse into people's homes. There's something quite cool about that.
I've seen a few people commenting on Facebook saying, oh, well, you always see them, they're always in front of a bookshelf, aren't they? Like, they're trying to make themselves look intelligent, or they've got a guitar behind them, like, oh yeah, I bet they play that all the time. And I kind of think that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You're not going to do it in front of your laundry that's on the rack, or the...
And also, they're probably doing it with their computer set up, which is probably in like a study or something, and they're doing it through a webcam. And that
also,
sort of...
I kind of think that I have two thoughts on that. I think all the people that sort of pointing it out are probably, when they're putting stuff on social media, you put on the good holiday snaps.
They'll be going through like the selfies and
that,
deciding which ones make the cut. Like
the meals that turned out well. You're not putting up the failures and the shots where you don't like the way you look, or exactly. So I think it's fair enough to kind of put your best foot forward when you're out in the world. In the same way that if you're going to, I don't always wear a suit, but if I was going to court, I wear a suit.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's
hopefully, I don't think they're going to press those charges, so it should be fine. But, Ellie, the other thought I had is I suspect that TV companies, when they ring people up, probably try and offer some sort of guidance as to what people should be sat behind. Do you know what I mean? Like, they probably say, oh, can we check your setup? Oh, that looks a bit messy behind there. We won't be able to focus on what you're saying. Have you got like a bookshelf or something we can put you in front of? Do you know what I mean?
I assume also their production team is running on relatively skeleton staff as well, so they're going to be sort of going like, yeah, that'll do.
So I sort of think like it might not even be the people going, oh, I'll put myself in front of all my books. It might be that they just have their computer up, and then people said, do you know what, that's... Could you maybe move your things?
Yeah, can't have a window behind you, you're backlit or whatever. Like,
Ellie, if you had the choice, if you were being interviewed for television, what backdrop would you choose to kind of present yourself to the world?
It has to be in the house, so I'm doing like a live stream. I literally probably would use this one, although I would probably hang those pictures.
Yeah, we should do that. Can we do that?
We haven't got a drill.
Ah, boo. Because that would be better, wouldn't it? But I think if it were me, if I was being interviewed for television, I'd probably do it in the garden, in front of the cages, so I can show off the tiger cubs. and then that'd be good to kind
Yeah,
of show
I'm
off
a vegan with tiger
my
cubs in my Newport
show off the
garden.
exotic animals that I keep for.
All right, Joe. Fine. What is this?
No selling that, wasn't
No. Yeah, I'm not buying that. So that was just a bit of an aside, really. But yeah, I watched it today. I just sort of realised, it's just made me realise how far-reaching all of everything. This is a weird blip in history that's just going to have lasting impacts. Because also, I realised, like, all those projects of films and TV shows and things like that that were going to be made are all going to be on pause. So there's going to be, like, a big chunk of time where we're only watching stuff that's already been made. And I don't know sort of how quickly that's going to change. On that front, we obviously don't know how long lockdown is going to go on for. On that front, they seem to be just sort of, I think they're drip feeding. Not this week, not soon, not in the foreseeable, but like, I think they're sort of rather say not this week over and over and over again than say definitely not until at least like August or something. I don't know how long we're going to be at it, and I think because we do have slightly weaker overall measures, then we're probably going to be at it longer than if we'd gone super strict. So I don't know, I don't know how long this is going to go on for. Today, I was reading, I'm not an economist, I don't understand most things when it comes to sort of talking about big numbers and GDP and percentage and interest rates and all that stuff. It kind of goes over my head. But obviously I know that like certain numbers are big numbers, and I can attribute that to sort of the gravity of the situation. The thing I just read not long before filming this was that the UK economy is expected to shrink by 35% up to June, is the current predictions. It is expected to bounce back and actually by the end of the year be roughly back where it would have been anyway, which is good.
Well, then why did you worry me? You didn't tell me that bit.
Well, I only just read it now after, because I went back to the story to read more while you...
all of the story.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It will. Oh, there's also some other slightly depressing things that sort of unemployment by the end of the year is expected to go to about 3.5. I won't say the figures because it's wrong, but basically, in case I get them wrong, but basically, obviously it's already shot up. Unemployment's skyrocketed, and claims for universal credit has skyrocketed. But when we do come back from lockdown, some of those unemployment figures aren't going to bounce back because those companies will have gone under and those jobs won't be there anymore. There are other avenues, though, that are hiring. I read yesterday that Amazon is trying to hire another 75,000 members of staff because they need additional staff for warehousing and delivery.
0-hour contracts.
Probably, and probably temporary 0-hour contracts.
I wonder if they'll pay any of their tax now.
Nah.
To support the NHS that we all need.
Nah.
That's a thing. We should really, some of these big companies should really be pushed by the government a bit harder to pay their taxes.
they're going to be making massive profits off this. Like that, they're
Amazon,
going to be the one
Amazon is doing incredibly well because everyone's ordering things and getting home deliveries rather than going out to the shops that are either closed or not worth the hassle of getting to and from at the moment.
Yeah, or a bit specialist, so they're not the kind of thing you can pick up in the supermarket.
We need to fund the NHS, so let's get these guys to pay their taxes, right?
Definitely. And a sensible government would step up and do that. Whether this one does, I don't know. I do have a nice little heartwarming thing that we could end on.
Then. Yeah, let's end on that.
Speaking of funding the NHS, there is a lovely little old man in Bedfordshire. I'm not sure quite where, but he's 99 years old. He's a war veteran.
News.
Yeah, he's a war veteran. He's 99 years old. He set up somebody set up on his behalf a GoFundMe / fundraiser thing. He wanted to raise £2,000 for the NHS. And in order to do so, he was going to do 100 laps of his garden. He walks with a frame. It's quite a big garden as well. They did say the size, I'm not sure, but it was an ample size. And he wanted to do it by the end of the month because he's not very mobile, so he was going to probably do maybe half a lap at a time, kind of thing. And he set himself the end of the month as the goal. He has already done the 100 laps. He set himself a goal of 2,000. He's raised over 2 million.
Wow.
And it's lovely. It's really, really lovely. I don't know his name, unfortunately. It just sprung into my mind then to mention it because it's a lovely, lovely story. So he's going to carry on. He's going to try and do another 100.
That is really lovely. And another fundraiser that we should mention is that someone is trying to fundraise for a get well present for Boris Johnson.
Oh, don't end on that!
And they've also got a target of £2,000.
They have not reached
it. They haven't reached it yet, but they're nearly halfway there, so that's really good stuff. And that's to get a pair of cufflinks.
From Harrods.
It costs £2,000, which feels arbitrary. And 2,000. I can't think of a better way to spend £2,000 under the current circumstances.
No.
So if you've organised that, or if you've donated to it, or even if hearing about me talking about it, you've considered even for a nanosecond donating to that, have a long, hard fucking look at yourselves.
Yeah, please do. I don't think that's our demographic.
I hope that the cufflinks in some way
We're at 31
causes
minutes, by the way.
rash or something on his wrists, and then that gets infected, and then he really suffers. He loses his hands. Because we're not supposed to wish death on people, are we? But I think we can wish that he loses his hands.
Yeah, I'm not going to go as far as hand loss, but yeah, I hope he gets a really nasty, infected, pussy rash.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Let's leave it at that.
All right.
We're over 31 minutes.
Pussy rash, guys.
Pussy rash.
Pussy rash.
Bye.
Bye.